People ask me every day, what's unique about this product and this opportunity? And I think if you asked all of us that question, we would probably answer it in a different way. But for me, one of them is Bill Farley, the fact that he has a genuine interest in this. And the second part that's very unique is we have this 5,000-year-old tradition of healing called Ayurveda. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ayurveda in a few minutes, but this is the science of life, it translates as in ancient Sanskrit. And it's something that's helped my own journey to healing tremendously in my life. The third is a world-class formulation team. I've had the opportunity to work with what I would consider some of the brightest minds in the field of integrative medicine today. Not only Deepak, but David Simon, the head of the Chopra Center, Dr. Thomas Yarema, a wonderful MD who's really been a pioneer in the field, Dr. Suhas Kashirsagar, who you saw in the video tonight, the Indian man, who is one of my primary Ayurvedic teachers. But this is kind of a dream team in a way. I can remember sitting in Chicago, we were doing a panel discussion in front of 1,200 people, and I was just kind of like, wow, this is sweet. I get to sit up here with these guys, because these are people I want to pick their brains all the time. So Bill wrote me an email. I'm trying to think of the exact date. Let's say May of 2006. And it was one sentence, and it said, Dan, tell me about the amalaki fruit. Bill. That's it. So I'm kind of wondering, why would Bill be writing me about the amalaki fruit? Because we know amalaki in Ayurveda, it's revered. We use it clinically all the time for so many reasons, not just because it's one of the most concentrated sources of vitamin C in nature. It's an incredible antioxidant. We use it for heat and acidity and inflammation in the body. We use it for the skin. We use it for the hair. We know all of these things about amalaki, and Bill says, well, I want to do something with it, and not only because amalaki is wonderful, but because Ayurveda is wonderful, and because Deepak Chopra, who a lot of people know, is, saying I should probably think about this. So I proceed to write Bill a 4-page letter about the wonders of the amalaki fruit. And I don't hear back from him. And I'm kind of like, what's going on? Why? I don't understand this. I get a call about 4 months later, and I'm actually just on my way to New York to do some publicity from my book. And it's Bill, and he says, Dan, I'm on my way to Kauai. We got a lot to talk about. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll hold off my trip for a little bit, and, for Bill Farley, of course. So he gets off the plane. He's like, wow, we got a lot to cover. So we go and we sit down, and he starts to unfold for me this idea to create a completely new liquid nutritional beverage and an opportunity within the network marketing industry, an industry I knew almost nothing about. And what I did know about the industry was a lot of people came to our medical clinic on Kauai and tried to get the doctors and myself to endorse their products over and over and over. So I was actually very familiar with a number of the, I guess what we'd now consider some of the competing brands in the marketplace. And I have no problem with these other brands. I mean, a lot of them are using incredible botanicals, and they seem to be helping some people. But it never excited our medical team, because we said, okay, if you just take, a grapefruit and mix it with some fruit juices, that's not enough to create a truly unique, therapeutic, functional beverage. So what Bill said to us was, I want you guys to create something novel, unique. I want it to have a true physiological impact. And I'm not going to give you a time limit. I'm not even going to give you a budget or a monetary limit. Come back to me when you have something that you're proud of, that you would actually support in the marketplace. And, that's a pretty amazing thing, not to have someone there breathing down your neck going, I need this thing in 3 weeks. Because we know the reality of it is to take amalaki, which is rooted in this wonderful tradition, and to put it into a modern liquid delivery system, we're kind of forging new ground in a way. And we knew it was going to be somewhat of an extensive process. And it was great because Bill said, I want to be involved in this. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to just come up one day with this cool drink and I drink it and we're done. He was so intimately involved in all of these rounds of tasting over and over, and he would totally chime in. He's like, I'm not sure if the ginger is quite there yet. We're like, how do you know about ginger, Bill? You don't know anything about this. So that began this lengthy process. It ended up being about a 9-month process. And for whatever reason, I kind of became the guinea pig. For some reason, they thought I had a sophisticated palate. Maybe it was through writing a book with recipes in it, but I was the guy that had to go and work with the nutritional chemists to try to make this drink with 7 botanicals in it taste good. I can tell you it was not an easy process when you're dealing with botanicals that may be sour or a little bitter. So it took about 74 rounds that we went through, and then finally we went to Bill one day and we said, this is it. You know, it was actually number 68. I remember that. It was version number 68. Maybe we'll do shirts someday that say Amalaki 68 or something. So that was the one. This is long before these guys in the front row were even involved in this thing, right? This is like, we're talking 2006, and Bill had this master plan. And we didn't even know what we were doing as far as creating this product that an entire company would be based around. Doctors and I did not know that at that point, okay? So this gets me to this 5,000-year-old science of healing that we call Ayurveda. And for me personally, I know some of you have heard this story now, probably more than once. I apologize for that. But when I was 22, I was in a wheelchair with a debilitating joint condition. And most of the top doctors I saw in New York City could offer me no answers. They said, here's some painkillers, let's do some surgeries. You know, it doesn't add up, kid. You know, you kind of have symptoms of osteoarthritis. It's not quite osteo, it's not quite rheumatoid, even though it's inflammatory. We don't know what to tell you. And for me, I was like, how can that be? How can you not actually have an answer that's going to allow me to enjoy my life? And right when this happened, a dear friend of mine, I was actually at home in northern Maine at my family's home, and I just had a dual ankle surgery. They cut open both sides of both of my ankles simultaneously to remove some spurs and various things. So I was out of commission. And I received a call from my best friend, Jim Matthews, and he said, Dan, I need to come talk to you, and it's really important. And he just left it at that. So he comes up to Maine, and he's sitting there, and he says, they've given me 3 months to live. I have stomach cancer. It's spread to 4 of the major organs, actually 5 of the major organs in my body, and I'm done. I don't have the strength to fight this. I don't want to fight this. I'm not going to do radiation and chemo. I'm not going to go on drugs. I'm done. And I just looked at him. I was like, how could this possibly be? How could we be so pathetic at this young age? We're supposed to be out there like enjoying life, and look at us. You know, my friends may be pushing me in a chair. You're going to be dead. I'm like, this is terrible, you know? And from that point, I feel like I began to actively participate in my healing process. Things shifted. Beforehand, it was all about, what is this doctor telling me? What is this drug going to do for me? I wasn't actually going back to the innate wisdom that resides inside of me to figure out, well, you know what? This doesn't feel right. Or I should take this thing which may, you know, help the balance in my body. So it was a turning point for me. And I became this voracious learner of all things integrative and alternative within the medical field. It was literally like this voracious appetite. I couldn't get enough because I had a sense that there was going to be an answer within this information. And it's funny when we talk about synchronicity, I studied in London for a year, and after that, I was really drawn to go to India. And I went to northern India, and I taught in the foothills of the Himalayan mountain range. And you know, 8 or 9 years later, I was back there helping source the Amalaki fruit, which we use in Zrii. So you never know where things are going to go.